Hello, my name is Stephanie Bowe, and I am the 2019-2021 New Jersey PTA Bylaws and Procedures Chairman. And today we're going to talk a little bit about standing rules. First, let me tell you what's new regarding your PTA bylaws. All PTAs in New Jersey now have uniform bylaws. What this means to you is that you no longer have to review and renew your bylaws every 3 years as you have in the past. In an effort to make your PTA job a little bit easier, New Jersey PTA has instituted uniform bylaws for all PTAs. This essentially means that every PTA in New Jersey now will have the exact same wording in their bylaws. Along with this change comes the fact that you must now create standing rules for your PTA. So historically, you have been able to adjust a few items in your bylaws, your PTA dues, the number of officers your PTA has, and the number of years in their terms, when you hold your elections, and the number of members you require for quorum. Because the bylaws now state minimums only, your PTA specific information regarding these items must be stated somewhere else, and that place is in your standing rules. So what are bylaws and what are standing rules and how do they differ? Bylaws are broad rules that apply to all PTAs. Standing rules are detailed rules that apply only to your PTA. They're rules that state exactly how your PTA runs. And I'd like to describe standing rules as an overall procedure book for your PTA. Standing rules must be adopted by your general membership, and they do not need to be approved by New Jersey PTA. However, a copy of your standing rules must be submitted to New Jersey PTA for them to keep on record. This is done easily through Member Hub. What you would do is sign into Member Hub, click on the Compliance tab, then click on Submissions, and then click on Financial Review, and there will be step-to-step instructions on how to submit them. One thing you must remember, though, is that standing rules can never conflict with your bylaws. In other words, they can never be contradictory to or go against what your bylaws say. They can never override your bylaws. So why did we do this? Why did New Jersey PTA do this? And how is our standing rules going to be very important for you? In other words, what do standing rules do for your PTA? They do three main things. They help to establish continuity, they help to establish transparency, and they help to derail conflict. Standing rules are useful for establishing continuity in this way. Imagine that your entire board left your PTA all at once and brand new people came in who were new to your PTA and had no idea how to run your PTA. These new people should be able to pick up your standing rules, read them, and run your PTA exactly how you ran it. This is why I describe standing rules as an overall procedure book for how your PTA operates. Standing rules help establish transparency and therefore help to derail conflict. Standing rules gives your members a sense that your PTA is run with deliberate order and you are not just making up rules on the fly. During many years of servicing locals and helping them resolve issues regarding members or regarding things that come up with members or questions that come up with members, I have heard over and over again, where is that written? In other words, people want to see somewhere in black and white a rule, a written rule that they can refer a member to and say, yes, this is why we do this because these are our rules. Somehow people don't believe it when some PTA officers will say, yes, that's how we run things. And a complaining member or a combative member might say, well, where is it written? And somehow in their mind, they think if it's not written somewhere, it's not real. So standing rules are where you make things real for people. So what can go into standing rules? Standing rules are another set of rules that describe procedures, specific to your PTA and should be detailed as possible. These are just a few of the things that can be in your standing rules, but really this is a very, very, very short list because standing rules can be many, many, many pages long. So detailed description of your committees, detailed job descriptions for your officers and committees, and who does what, when they do it, where and how. Details regarding paid expenses for delegates sent to New Jersey PTA annual meeting. Remember, these are just real, off the cuff samples of what can go in your standing rules. Details regarding your board of directors and your general membership meetings. Details regarding how cash is handled. This one's a very important one because this is something that you really want set rules on how to handle when you have a cash fundraiser. Who's counting the money, who's handling the money, who's taking the money to the bank, etc. Requirements and qualifications. Your PTA asks for certain PTA positions, what fundraisers you hold and when you hold them, policies regarding fifth grade parties, eighth grade socials, and post prom or after proms, as some PTAs call them. These are very important because these seem to be a source of conflict in many PTAs. Again, after many years of doing field service work with PTAs, a lot of questions revolve around, and a lot of conflict revolves around the fifth grade parties, the eighth grade socials, and the post prom. So again, details make everybody's job easier. You give people more details, they know, they're more likely to do the right thing and know what to do. So the sample, we do provide, New Jersey PTA is providing a sample standing rules, the template, if you will, on the New Jersey PTA Resources Hub, which can be found on the New Jersey PTA website. So the first 26 items listed in the sample must be incorporated into your PTA standing rules. Even if you have standing rules now, these items must be incorporated. Now, 26 sounds like a big number, but as you see here on the screen, the first 5 of them are like simple things like the name and identity of your school, your the school or schools that your PTA serves. It just states that what your tax exempt status is, your 501c3 under the Internal Revenue Code. Your IRS annual filing is a 990, has to be done by November 15th. So many of these items are just stating facts that pertain to your PTA. Your New Jersey charitable annual registration filing, when that must be done. Then 6 through 9 is your incorporation annual filing of your incorporation. Filing is done only if you're incorporated, if your PTA is incorporated. Standards of affiliation, these are the rules that you follow that you must be compliant with according to New Jersey PTA. Standards of affiliation can be found on the New Jersey PTA Resources Hub, also on the New Jersey PTA website. Your membership, who's allowed to be members in your PTA, your membership dues. This is very important that you have this in here because again, this item is no longer going to be in your bylaws, so you have to state your dues somewhere. So this is where you put it in your standing rules. Then 10 through 12 covers your council dues if your PTA belongs to a council. Most PTAs in New Jersey no longer belong to a council. General membership meetings and quorum, how many general membership meetings you have. Again, the bylaws are going to restate that you have a minimum of 3 general membership meetings. If you have more than 3, you're going to put that number here. We have 5 general membership meetings, we have 10. And then you're going to put your quorum here because again, quorum is no longer going to be in your bylaws. It's going to be in your standing rules. Your board of directors meetings, when you have your meetings, 13 through 16 covers elected officers and the standards of affiliation, who your elected officers are, what their term is, your officer duties, board of directors, training requirements. Again, 17 through 19, committees, budget and financial reports, financial review, your bank account, independent review of your bank statements. That means this one's important, meaning that you're supposed to have a non-signer on your checking account review your bank statements monthly. The easiest way to do this is to bring your bank statements and your financial records to a PTA meeting and have a non-signer review them. Who your bank account signers are, it's 22. 24, your voting delegates to convention, awards that you may give out, standing rules, adoption amendments. That's 26. Okay, so 27, 28, and 29 are optional, but we included them here because we think that they are important things to have in your standing rules so that you have some kind of rules written somewhere on these 3 things. One is on number 27 is policy review, and that basically would be the policies that your PTA follows to do certain things. Board of your standards of conduct, your money handling, your social media rules, your credit card, debit card policy, online banking activity, after school activities, password transition. These policies should be written down somewhere so that when you hand over the reins to new officers, you um, these rules are written down, these things are written down so people are not left in the dark. And so that nothing is missed. If you have it all written down somewhere, you're more likely to pass it on to your new people. Um, Number 28, collaboration with other organizations. Your PTA can collaborate with other organizations, but it states here, and this is a question again that has come up over the years many times, who handles the money? The money wants to be put through the PTA bank. These things should be written down so it is clearly understood and established who handles money in situations like this when you're doing an event, possibly with another organization where money is to be collected. This one's important, 29, code of conduct and social media use. Again, many PTAs have gotten themselves into hot water with their uh, social media platforms, people posting things that are not good, and then you run into problems. So if you have rules on what can be posted, who can post it, and whatnot, that way you have rules established that may disallow or may stop bad things from happening regarding social media. Again, these things are optional, but we recommend them because we have had a lot of issues with these things. So, clues for creating useful standing rules. Number one, Google PTA standing rules. Why reinvent the wheel? There are many standing rules out there online that PTAs have already done. Some really great, some really detailed. They will jog your mind. They will give you somewhere a starting point, a departure point on what to include in yours. These are things, if you read standing rules, you might be in the dark. If you have no standing rules at this point and you are jumping off new into this standing rules world, you may have no clue what you need. If you read other standing rules, you might get good ideas from them and see that, or you can end up just copying somebody else's standing rules and incorporate them, tweak them to go coincide with your PTA. But if you find a good set of them out there, again, why reinvent the wheel? Just go Google samples and you'll find lots of information out there. Details are good. I've noted it a couple times in here that standing rules should be very detailed. So because why, might as well put all the details in there. Why make people reinvent the wheel? Why make them start from zero when you have already worked out the kinks of your events, your when you do what when, and if you write it down for them, they have a departure point. This also may help in recruiting new leaders. I've often heard over the years, people are willing to help, but they don't want to lead because they don't know what to do. So there's a fear factor because they don't want to not do the right thing. They don't want to do something wrong. If you give people a detailed procedure book, a detailed rule book on how to run things, you show it to your prospective recruits, you may very well make them more comfortable in taking a leadership role because they might see that, oh, this is all so daunting. Well, here's the rules. Here's basically what I do, and if I just follow this, I should be okay. So details are going to make that a much easier situation for anybody coming in. Again, facilitates transition. Help your new leaders take the wheel. Again, if you've already written it out for them, you've already worked out the kinks, you folks have been doing it the same way for X amount of years, it's been working, why change it? And not to say the new people can't switch things around or whatnot, but at least give them a basis for how to make things run the way you've been running them. So if I haven't said it enough times, make your standing rules very detailed. That will make them the useful tool that New Jersey PTA wants them to be for your PTA. Again, this is our making them a mandatory document for your PTA is to help you establish good ground rules for your PTA and help you transition new people and to help you run a successful PTA. So if you have questions, you can go to the New Jersey PTA website. There you will find the resources hub where you will find the standing rules template. You will also find this PowerPoint posted, and you can also email bylaws@njpta.org and ask a question. Somebody will definitely respond to you. Thank you for listening.